Large population is the biggest problem we are facing as a race. Human life expectancy has increased by a factor of 3 in last 120 years. Just around the year 1900, you were only expected to live for 28 years. So 3 times increment in the life expectancy has resulted into 3 orders of magnitude increment in the total population. So 3 orders of magnitude means that the population has essentially multiplied by a factor of 1000. However, there is still a notion in major part of the society that their ancestors were living a life which was really long in span. They were able to utilize the conscious and hierarchical aspect of human behavior to get into the best form to have a span which is bigger than 50-60 years is the notion most of the people talk about.
ये कम्प्लीटली फेक प्राइड लेना है, ये बोल के कि हमारे पास्ट में तो लोग बहुत ज़्यादा जीते थे, वैदिक युग में तो लोग हजार साल जीते थे, 500-500 साल जीते थे। आपने देखा होगा बहुत सारे लोग ये सब क्लेम करते हैं एज इफ द ओल्ड टाइम्स वर बेटर टू लिव, और ये एकदम कम्प्लीटली गलत नोशन है, 100% गलत नोशन है। इनफैक्ट इंडिया को जब आज़ादी मिली है उस टाइम पे आदमी की एवरेज लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी 28 ईयर्स थी। मतलब अगर आप आज पैदा हुए हैं तो ऑन एन एवरेज ये एक्सपेक्ट किया जाएगा कि आप 28 साल जिएंगे बस। मोस्ट ऑफ द किड्स वुड डाई ड्यूरिंग द बर्थ प्रोसेस। 60-70% ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन वाज डेड इवन बिफोर द बर्थ। तो जब से ये मेडिसिन मार्केट में आई हैं, बायोलॉजी को आदमी ने कंट्रोल करना सीख लिया, उस वजह से लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गई। अब सोचो आज की डेट में इंडिया में लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी इज अबाउट 68 ईयर्स। तो 40 साल का जंप आ गया अचानक से, तो इस वजह से पॉपुलेशन बहुत ज्यादा ग्रो कर गई। बिकॉज पीपल वर स्टिल इन दैट माइंडसेट टू हैव लार्ज फैमिली, इट वाज जेनेटिकली कोडेड एंड दे कुडंट कंट्रोल इट। और अगर आप इजिप्शियन सिविलाइजेशन देखते हैं, जो पिरामिड्स में ममीज मिली हैं, वहां से भी यही पता चला है कि जो इंसान की अपने पीक तक पहुंचने की जो एज थी, इट वाज मोर और लेस 25 ईयर्स। एंड इफ यू आर एबल टू लिव फॉर 45 ईयर्स, यू आर रियली हैविंग अ गुड लाइफ। अब इजिप्शियन सिविलाइजेशन की जो टाइमलाइन है, इट्स अबाउट 3500 BC, और महाभारत की जो टाइमलाइंस पब्लिक डोमेन में रिसर्च करने के बाद जो अवेलेबल है, इट इज ऑल्सो समवेयर अराउंड 3500 BC। तो महाभारत और इजिप्शियन सिविलाइजेशन वो दोनों कंटेम्परेरीज थे, दे हैव टू बी हैपनिंग एट द सेम टाइम। तो क्योंकि इजिप्शियन सिविलाइजेशन में उस टाइम पे जो एवरेज एज है, इट वाज समवेयर अराउंड 35, यू कैन अज्यूम दैट एंशिएंट इंडिया में भी इतनी ही लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी होगी। सो व्हाट इज मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट इज टू नो दैट now is really the best time to be born, because if you were born any time before in the past, you are most likely going to die younger.
This is quite a formidable change if you put it into perspective. From monkey to now, we have spent about 28 million years on planet Earth, and our life expectancy had always been about 28 years or so. And only in last 100 years it multiplied by a factor of 3, so that is a very, very formidable change in a very small time span. So of course it is going to have some repercussions, it's going to have certain consequences. And the major consequence we see right now is the explosion of population. We have made it so difficult for rest of the species on the planet to survive that 98% of all species are gone. Who is going to think about these problems? Who is going to talk about it? Who is going to find the solution? Is a question worth considering.
You know, there is a saying that what has happened in the past is going to happen in the future. So if you look at this trend of last 28 million years, you will find that no matter how hard people try to change status quo, the evolution is going to happen with its own pace, and you can't do much about it. Because by the time you think of doing something, it's already too late. So the reaction time of the progression of civilization is extremely quick in terms of time scales known to humanity. That is essentially the crux of the problem. So you have a possibility that the population is reduced to only 10% and the planet has become more and more spiritual and self-sustaining. There are many other species also thriving on the planet, and humanity has become a multiplanetary species. We have genetically engineered other species of humans that is living on Mars. And these spaceships size of the city are formed, and humans are roaming around in the universe on those spaceships where life is self-sustaining. And all of this is actually going to happen within our lifetime. But instead of having the self-sustaining planet, the difference is going to be that we will end up destroying the whole atmosphere. All the species living on this planet will be gone except those which are useful to us, and the condition of life is just going to be less and less natural. Despite all these bad news, it is expected that the average lifespan of humanity is further going to go up in decades to come. Genetic engineering is definitely going to be applied, and probably our future generations wouldn't have disease like cancer. So the future still seems bright.